So I've been avoiding making this video, and I've kind of felt like this ever since SmackDown took place last week on Friday, but it just hasn't been good, hasn't it? Wrestling's been absolutely trash, let's just face it. SmackDown was bad, and Raw had okay moments, but Raw was also bad as well. And I think this has a lot to do with the post WrestleMania calm down period that they usually have, but it's been bad. It's been absolutely bad. I mean, if you can name one thing on SmackDown that was a highlight, I will clap for you. Maybe you could say the Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns angle. Everything that's gone on with that is okay, but if you go back to SmackDown and look what happened, I mean, the MFTs are pretty much gutted, and I can't tell whether or not Triple H had like a long term plan there, but whatever they had planned with someone like a Tamatanga has just completely disappeared now. At least I feel like it has. And on SmackDown, we only had Talatanga and Solo Sokoa together, which sure you can say, well, Jacob took them out, but the thing is, it's like, well, I get it, but when Tamatanga gets back, where are they going to go with that whole angle? Now that JC is gone and the other one, I forgot his name, but he botches everything. Like, where are they going to go? And to make matters worse, I mean, I'm gonna be bouncing around a fair bit here. I've just been a bit frustrated. I mean, like, I'll still watch the product. Just talking about it sometimes is just it's difficult, right? So we've got cuts going on as well. A lot of superstars got released recently, and some that took me off guard was the New Day. I don't understand how I don't understand how you keep someone on board like The Miz, but you get rid of someone like a Kofi Kingston or an Xavier Woods. I mean, surely The Miz should be going, right? Now, they didn't offer The Miz, sorry, they didn't offer the New Day the figures that they're expecting. Now, I read somewhere that they were earning like seven figures or something along those lines, but WWE wanted to take them wanted to make them take a pay cut, but I'm pretty confident that they're probably paying The Miz seven figures. They have to be. Like seriously. I don't know if that house that you saw on SmackDown was his own, but it's a pretty big house. It's okay, I get it. It's probably bought and paid for, but come on, man. Like the Miz is probably getting paid seven figures, so we keep people like the Miz on board. So you can find reasons to justify people like the Miz, or you bring back guys like R-Truth again. We don't know how much they're making, but you want to give the New Day like a massive cut. Now there is some people that is of the opinion, like Booker T. What would you do with him? But we got to take what he says with a grain of salt because he's a commentator and he works there. But when you think about it, yeah, I mean, okay, let's look at it from his perspective. Yes, there isn't a whole lot you can really do with the New Day, but I think they were doing kind of fine as heels. I really do. And to make matters worse, what was all that then with Javon Evans? I mean, I kind of want to know where that was going to lead. Now, sure, WWE probably didn't see it coming with the New Day saying, you know what, we're kind of good. You don't want to pay us what we're worth. We're leaving. But what was that? What was that about? And where would that have eventually led to? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of tough at the moment. And I read a report. I think it was like Fightful. I don't know. I forgot where I read it. I don't actively search for this information. If I see it, I think about it. I'll make a video if I want to. If I don't, I don't. But apparently or allegedly, TKO is giving the WWE superstars 2 days to make a decision whether they're taking a pay cut or not, or they're gone. I don't know if that's true or not. I doubt it, but I think for some people it's possible. I've heard that they're not happy with Roman Reigns' contract as well. Apparently, Roman Reigns is on 15 million and his deal's supposed to be like an attraction only deal, and WWE don't want to pay him that much money. I get it. When Vince was in charge, right, Vince understood it from a wrestling perspective, right? But TKO is only seeing this only as a business, right? Ari Emanuel and Nick Khan, they're seeing this only as a business. Like the bottom line, they're looking at these superstars and they're probably thinking, how, wait, how are you making that much money? I don't want to pay you that much money. You ain't listen. You ain't worth that much money to be sitting at home most of the year. Come on, man. What's going on? So they're probably just thinking, man. And also, and this is what I think. And this is the reason why I think NXT is the way that it currently is. NXT is kind of. It's not really a place where you can kind of build the next generation, even though it is and it isn't. But it's kind of a place where they can look at some of these other superstars who either asking for more money or don't want to take a pay cut in the future and say, you know, we've been building that guy down there in NXT and he's cheaper and he's ready to take your spot in a moment's notice. Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, and by the way, we've built two more cheaper guys like that. You see what I mean? It's like football over in the UK, right? You sign a player young, pay him a little bit of money. He wants to work his ass off because he wants to make that big contract. But then it gets too expensive, or he gets to a point where he's too valuable, and the club says, "Ah, you know what? We'll sell him on." Well, WWE's got no one to sell him on to, but the WWE definitely doesn't want to pay him that much money, especially when they've got their own farm system down with NXT, where they can say, "Right, yeah, you're getting too expensive now. We'll bring that guy up. He's a lot cheaper, and when he gets too expensive, he either accepts less money, or they can say goodbye." And I think this is what we're seeing, and this is what we're going to see going forward into the future. We're going to see a lot of this as well. The problem is that these guys will then probably go on to like an AEW, but the majority of the value has already been taken out of them. And what makes it worse is when they go to a place like AEW, they have somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of experience booking in a Tony Khan who'll be able to actually take that individual and make something of them. Look how many people have left WWE already and have gone into AEW, and sure, they may have some okay moments, but would you really say that they're at their peak in AEW? No. But if this continues and these reports are true, I don't know, man. Okay, so what I'm trying, I won't even beat around the bush. I've always wondered what would happen if there was like a mass exodus from WWE. Like I've kind of wondered, like, because you've heard the reports like the Saudis might be interested and everything. Could you imagine if the Saudis bought WWE and they want the superstars over in their country a lot, because they're not just going to buy a product and still keep it mainly in America. I don't see how that's happening, especially now they're getting WWE regularly over in their country. I could see a mass exodus of WWE superstars, and a lot of them will go to AEW, maybe TNA. I can see that. So it's just bad. I mean, if you go back to the Booker T point, what could you have done with the New Day? Correct. Well, correct. Yes, there wasn't really a whole lot you could really do. You could give him more tag team championships, but then people would be complaining that, well, it's now taking away from up and coming tag teams that there isn't any of, because they've just gutted the whole tag team division. Think about it. The Motor Machine Guns are gone. The White Six are gone. Like, they've just gutted the tag team division. It's really bad, and the tag team division on Raw is literally non-existent. But I'm sure you get my point. If you don't, just let me rant. It's just bad. I mean, wrestling is really bad, and Raw was kind of nice to watch and hard to watch at the same time, just because I found things very interesting, not really like groundbreaking things, but I found Raw kind of interesting at times and just boring. Here's one thing that I'm very annoyed at. So Jacob's now using the Tongan death grip. Fine. So in the contract signing, why was Roman allowed to fight out of that at least 3 times? Why? Why? They've re-put this move over. The move was already put over ages ago. They've explained that, oh well, nobody breaks out of it. You want to use it as a last resort, last ditch effort. All right, cool. But why is Roman Reigns? Why is he fighting out of it? It should have been locked on and it should have been one and done. I'd have been happy to see that. And then going into Backlash, Roman Reigns comes out, and sure, he doesn't just squash Jacob Fatu, but he's gonna beat him, because he is gonna beat him. He is gonna beat him. But it just doesn't. Yeah, I think they're in a bad spot. Creative is terrible. And yes, it is to blame on Triple H creatively, but at the same time, I think TKO does have the final sign off on these stories. They have the final sign off, and not to mention, think about it. Triple H now has targets he has to to meet. He has objectives. He's got to keep that person happy and that person happy. And the board's probably telling him, "Well, listen, this is the direction we're going to go in." So we can't 100% blame his booking on him. He doesn't run it. This isn't like Vince, where Vince was fully in control. Sure, he had a board to answer to, but with Vince, like everyone just trusted that he knew what to do because he built the company from where it was to what it was at that point, or that at that point over the years. With Triple H now, it's a bit different because yes, he has people to answer to, but he knows that. Well, actually, he doesn't have the same level of power that Vince does, so he can be gone. He can be gone. And Triple H thinks in the back of his mind, like, if they get rid of me, there's still people like Paul Heyman that they can put in that spot. People keep saying the Undertaker could take that spot. No, he can't. Like, behave yourself. No, like he just couldn't. I mean, just look at Undertaker as the person on his podcast, how he speaks when he's not the Undertaker character. Do you really think that man could actually book a whole show continuously? I just don't see it. There's still Eric Bischoff is still alive. There's Jim Cornette. There's still people who could come in and fill that void if they wanted to get Triple H out the door. So I just don't think it's 100% Triple H's fault there, but it is still terrible booking. It's absolutely bad. I might do a predictions video on Backlash. It's Wednesday now. I might. That's if I can be bothered to, just because of how just terrible it is. But yeah, yeah, the new getting rid of the New Day was a bad idea in my opinion. I can understand Booker T's perspective. You could have kept these guys on board. You could have kept them on board and helped develop some of the newer tag teams in a tag team division that's non-existent, or some of the singles wrestlers. I mean, there's just so much they could have actually done. And I don't know about you, but I hated when they turned heel. I thought it was dumb. I didn't like it. I understand when Biggie got injured, it was pretty much the end of the New Day. But I think they did a pretty good job as a two-person tag team. And at times it was kind of funny and somewhat interesting. Just the clothes they were wearing, and they got Grayson on board, and they kind of just had him there, but they wasn't really excited. It was fine. It was a bad decision. And hey, listen, if TKO are saying, listen, you got 2 days, or you got 2 days to kind of accept a pay cut, or you're gone. Go to AEW. Go to AEW. Because let's just be honest, while their weekly television programs suck, because AEW's it does suck. I would admit when they hold their pay-per-views, they're okay. They're okay. Some are better than others, but I think they're pretty decent. I honestly do. And if only Tony would get the right advice, or put the right person in charge to book it, it could be a very competitive show. It really could. Hire someone like a Jim Cornette. And I remember when Jim Cornette did a show once, he did say him and Tony, this is before Tony started AEW, they had discussions, but Tony had him sign an NDA. So Tony's already seeked counsel in people who know what they're doing. And as Jim Cornette said, he didn't take my advice. So these guys could go somewhere meaningful. I mean, I personally think in the long term, what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of. I think we will see a lot of departures, whether people leave themselves or something to do with pay cuts and people are either released or they part ways, whatever the case may be. I think we'll see a lot of it over time, and I think we'll end up seeing things like that where people do actually migrate to other shows. But again, if Tony can get the right people in the right positions, it could be interesting. But that's just my take for this week. I guess I had to do a video anyway. Raw sucked, SmackDown sucked. We got SmackDown next, and don't get me started on NXT. NXT, it's funny because on this channel I've got it titled saying that it's Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. NXT's NXT's so bad. And there is nobody, unless they've already been wrestling on the indies before and got some experience. There's nobody on that roster. There's nobody on that roster that I believe has. I mean, wait, don't get me wrong. Actually, see that's wrong. In time, anyone can learn to wrestle. In time, anyone can get it. But we're in such a low attention span, fast paced environment in the world today that everybody has to kind of move through the system very quickly. And these people don't have time. If you go back to like the 80s or the 90s or whatever it may be, these guys had time to work on their craft in a, I wouldn't say it was low stress per se, but there wasn't as much stress as there is today in terms of having to get over quick, having to do this. There wasn't that much stress. The people had time to work with the right people to get to where they need to be. Those people down in NXT are just they're kind of fast tracks through the system, and they're just not ready. And then a lot of them won't be ready for the next 5 to 6 years. Now WWE's gonna do a very good job in making you think they're ready, scripting matches correctly, giving them good promos, meaning you're writing them out, putting the machine behind the individual, and you'll think they're really good. I mean, I understand how it works, but will they be really good overall? No, they won't be. So, like I said, we got SmackDown next, then we got Backlash. Let's hope SmackDown's better. Let's hope that back down, Backlash is pretty good, and then we'll see, and then we'll just keep our eyes on the WWE landscape to see if there's going to be any more releases or people parting ways anytime soon. With that said, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.